Look at this beautiful block. Today we're going to be using the diamond and learning option 25 of the square and a square system. Let's get started. This is the Hexie Star block, and normally it's a difficult block to make with all of these Y seams and set-in pieces, but I'm going to show you how you can put it together all with straight line sewing and using option 25 of the square and a square system. Option 25 can be found in the Diamonds by the Square book. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our diamond. So if I tell you to cut a 4-inch square, the first thing you're going to do is cut a 4-inch strip. So if I tell you to cut a 4-inch diamond, the first thing you want to do is cut a 4-inch strip. If you were cutting a square, you would do a cleanup cut and then come in here and cut so that it would be a square. So take your OmniGrid ruler and put the 60 right along the edge of your fabric. So you can do it, put the 60 up here at the top, or you can actually put the 60 down here at the bottom. The main thing is to make sure where you're making your cleanup cut that you have enough ruler to cover the complete edge of your fabric. So I've made my cleanup cut, and I'm just going to scoot the ruler down, and I want, since this is 4 inches, I want 4 inches under the ruler. So keeping my 60 along the edge of my fabric to keep my angle correct, then I'm going to look from my cut to my cleanup cut. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have the 4-inch line going across here, my 60 going there, and I will just make my cut. Now gently pick up your ruler. If you don't move your ruler too much, then it's not going to be as hard to find your placement to put it down again. So here's my 60 along the edge of my fabric and my 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm keeping it at that angle. And just continue on working through to the end of your fabric. Now, if you always start at the raw edges of your fabric and finish at the fold, you could open that piece up and get another shape out of it. At least you'll have a bigger piece to work with than two little tails. So just keep going. And I've cut my 4-inch diamonds out of my 4-inch strip. Now the next thing you'll need to do is you'll want to start your strip in the sewing machine. So let's play like this is my sewing machine right here, and you're going to start sew, 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 sew just a little bit. Then of course right side up and right side down, so right sides together, and you're just going to lay that diamond right along the edge, sewing your nice 1/4 of an inch. Leave about a finger space in between and continue sewing. And well, I always say load your strip, so put as many on here as you can, however many that will fit. It depends on the size of your diamond, and it depends on your strip, if you were cutting from fat quarters or scraps or selvage to selvage. Now since I was kind of working with a fat quarter here, it works out nicely that I can finish up and still have quite a bit left. So after you sew down side 1, so let's look at this one here. We've had it in our machine. And you can see here how I sewed down side 1. So if this is in my sewing machine, then what I want to do is I want to start another strip. So we would start the strip in the sewing machine, and then I would cut this off and bring it around and lay it down. And you can see how I'm sewing the opposite side of the diamond on the new strip. And you just keep sewing those down. Don't open these up. You don't want to handle your fabric, your strips or your diamonds any more than you have to. So here is side 1, here is side 2. Let's look at what that looks like. So here you can see how we've sewn on opposite sides of the diamond. Then just come in here and cut them apart. You can do it with your rotary cutter, or you can do it with scissors. When you open these up, they look like a Z, and it looks kind of crazy. And you're like, oh my gosh, how is that going to turn out to be the Hexie Star? But anytime you're working with the diamonds, this is how you're going to start. So now I want to sew another strip here and another strip here, but I'm just going to use a short strip. So this is actually what we're striving for, is this right here. So to get the size of that strip, I'm just going to measure across where I had one of the other strips and get my mark. And then I'm just going to fold it in my hand. And this is the same way we do when we work with the squares. We work with folding these back and forth, fan folding them to get our short strips that we'll sew on the side. So now you can see how I've got one that'll go there, and another one here, and another one there, and then here. So let's sew a couple of these so you can see how it looks in the machine. Okay, so you're just going to start up here at the top, making sure, see how this strip is going to line up right along the edge of your diamond. Make sure this is nice press here. You don't want a pucker under there. And I've finished at the seam, but I'm going to sew all the way through to the end. Then I'm going to pick up the next one, and you can see how I have the strip just laying right along the side of the diamond. And just sew all the way through. And when I have done side 3 on as many as I need, then I will bring it around and I will sew the opposite side on. Now to make the Hexie Stars, you're going to need 6 of these in the same color combo. So you'll need to sew 6 just like this with a color combo, and then sew another 6 with a different color combo. So you can see here how I have 6 for my yellow, and I have 6 with my blue. So let's see how we're going to trim these up. So take your square and a square ruler, and you're going to find the 120 with the 1/4 of an inch, and you're going to push it into the wide angle side of your diamond. This is a 120-degree angle here, and this is your 120 line. So nice and sharp in the tip, go right down the seams. If everything's good, this should go right through the opposite corner of that diamond, and we're just going to make that cut. I'm going to go to the opposite side and do the same thing. Now once I start making cuts, I want to look at that raw edge of the fabric and the lines on the ruler and make sure that my block is staying square. You want the outsides to stay square. Okay, now this is the 60. So now I'm just going to turn my ruler over to where the 60 is and push that 60 into the corner, line the lines up. My new 60 line will go through the point. And once again, I want to look at the fabric under the ruler and these lines that are horizontal, and I want to make sure that my block is staying even and that it is staying square. See, there's a little bit more fabric here than there is here, so I want to kind of just adjust a little bit to even it out, to keep it as even as possible on all 4 sides. Now, we're leaving a 1/4 of an inch off of the point of all 4 of these corners, because when we put the angle right in the tip of that diamond, there's that 1/4 of an inch, and we did that on all 4 corners. Now, if you wanted to make a storm at sea, this would be all you would need to do, and this would be an option 7. But we're going to do one more step to it, and it's going to turn it into the units we need for the Hexie Star. Now, my diamond was 4 inches, so when I take a 1/4 of an inch underneath here in that seam and a 1/4 of an inch here, that means from here to here is 3.5 inches. And I want to cut right through these middles. So half of the 3.5 is 1 3/4. Now, the reason why that's important is because now I'm going to take 1 3/4, line it up on that seam, and it allows me to cut exactly right through the middle of that diamond. And it should go nice point to point, and you should have 1 3/4. Make your cut. Be careful not to move. And you're going to go the opposite direction and do the same thing. Measure the 1 3/4, Look if it's going tip to tip nicely, and make your cut. Now, what you're going to get is you're going to get 2 of the short, wider ones, so you can see those here, and 2 of the longer, skinny ones. To make our Hexie Star, we need these. Now, we'll come back to these units here in just a minute. So, when you're making your star, do you see how you're going to have 1, 2, and then we'll just put this one in here. It's not the right color, but 3. So 3 of those going together make this little half moon shape. Now when I get ready to sew these together, I'm just going to lay them side by side, match up that seam, and when I sew, I want to put this in my sewing machine and sew this away so that those seams will go away, and it will help to make those seams line up nice and neat. And then you'll press it open, and you'll go back with another one of the same color, and you'll repeat that on the opposite side to get your little half moon shapes. Now when you get ready to sew these together, see how one will go this way, you'll just flip it, and the other one will go the opposite way. And you'll just continue with your up, down, and then when you sew the next row to it, you you match up the colors. So this one would be a blue one here, and these would be the green or the purple. So let's look at this one here. So here I have one row together. Now, if you use a 4-inch diamond, your Hexie is going to be it's what I call it, 8-inch Hexie. But your sides will not be an 8-inch, obviously. But maybe that will help you when you decide how big or how many of these you want to make. So here we'll need a different color here, because this will be building on a new star. And you can see how this one will go down, matching up with that star. And this one will go here, matching up with that. Now, obviously, if your quilt is bigger, you're going to make longer rows and mixing your colors up the way that you want to. Now, when you get ready to put your diamond units together, when you get ready to put these together and you want to finish here on the end of your quilt, there's a couple of different things you could do. You could take some of your Hexie units that maybe you didn't use. Maybe you want to do all yellow around the outside edge, or mix them up and do different colors. You can also, these little corners that you had that were your other leftover pieces, see those fit in there perfectly, and that would make the edge of your quilt square to finish as you go. You can also take that same 4-inch diamond and you can cut it in half and sew it in there if you just want a plain unit. So let's look at these. Oh, before we do that, one more thing I want to show you with the Hexies. Okay, if you wanted to make a border for a quilt, look how you could put one up, one down, one up, one down, and continue on, and see how that diamond would stand up straight along the bottom of your quilt and the top of your quilt. And then look how these units, the thin ones, can go along the side to make your borders continue to stand up with the diamond shape on the sides of your quilt. And look how easily those go together to make that nice mitered corner on the corners of your quilt. Now, the next thing you can do is if you take 2 of these side units and put them together like this, then you'll have these units. And these units can sew together like this in a straight line if you want straight line sewing. Or if you want to put them on point in your quilt, then these can just be all through your quilt, just with all of these going straight line, straight line. But something that's fun and easy to do is you can put them together like this. So here's the 2 shapes. See, there it is, there it is, there it is. So you're going to sew, and put 3 more together to make your 2 pieces. And once again, here on the outside edge, you can finish that up with, once again, your little half of your 4-inch diamond. You can put those in the corner like that. Or you can go back to these shapes and they fit in there perfectly. And if you fill those corners in with these, and of course depending on what you want to do with your color, this one actually looks pretty with these all in that same corner. Then this would wind up being a, I think it's a 5-edge, a pentagon, and that you would sew those together. Make all your blocks with your, no, that's 6 edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continues with your hexie. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today and learning something new with option 25 and the diamond units, and how you can get beautiful shapes that look difficult, but once again the square and a square system gives you speed and accuracy and helps you put your blocks together easy. This is volume 2 of the reference book series. This is Diamonds by the Square, and this is where you'll find the diamond units that go from option 18 all the way up to option 39, and there's a lot of great quilts and blocks in here that you can get started with. Lots of charts to help you figure your sizes. So have fun and start playing with your diamonds of the square and a square system.